Hello, I'm so glad you can join me today. If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today I am making you some currant rolls. Who remember currant rolls with little currants on the inside? So I hope you can come along with me and join me as I make some, what do you call them? Currant rolls or currant slices. Some people say currant slices, some people say currant rolls. But whatever you call them, they're still the same. We will be making some today. So let's get started and I will show you how to make them. I'm going to start here with 4 cups of flour. My flour is already sieved and I am going to put my flour right here. Let's go ahead and use this. So I'm going to start with my 4 cups of flour. I'm going to put in here. Hopefully you can see if I can put it in without spilling everything all over the place. I'm usually pretty good at doing that. On this cup here, on this plate, I have 1.5 teaspoons of salt and I have 1 tablespoon of sugar. So I will be adding that to it. Basically that's it. I'm just going to mix this up a little bit before I add my butter to it. I just want to mix that up to make sure everything is blended up nicely. Let me plug this in. Yeah, just give it a little pulse to make sure, or just mix it up with your spoon just to make sure everything is nice and mixed up. Then I have over here some butter. Now we want our butter to be cold, but I leave my butter out at room temperature just to soften up just a little bit, but you don't want to get it too soft, but you want it to be at room temperature because it's easier to blend when it's at room temperature. So I'm going to just break my butter up. And I have 2 sticks of butter. Altogether, this is 1 cup of butter that I will be adding to this. Pulse the butter in here a little bit so it kind of like, see how it looks, you can see like the little grains of butter in there. The little pieces of butter in there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start adding some water to that. Okay, this water is cold water. You need cold water. I kept this in the refrigerator for a little bit. This is cold water, and of course I always say add a little bit of water at a time. You don't want to add too much because we now trying to make a dough. Okay, okay guys, so you mix up your dough until it starts to come together. When your dough starts to come together like this, then you're going to take it out and you're going to put it on your counter and you're going to knead it yourself, okay? You're going to finish kneading it. So let me clear away my counter right here. So you're going to put enough water in here to get it to look that way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some flour and I'm going to put some flour on my counter, so when I put the dough on my counter it doesn't stick to the counter. So I'm just going to sprinkle some flour. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some flour and sprinkle my counter with some flour, and I'm going to take my dough and put it on my counter so I can knead my dough. Okay, take that. Let me try to get everything out. Once you put your flour dough on your counter, wherever you're going to put it, then you're going to knead it for a little bit. You're not going to overdo your dough, but you're going to knead it for a little bit. So I sprinkled a little bit of flour on the top because it still is a little sticky, okay? But it feels nice and light. And that's how you want it to be, nice and light. Okay, and I'm going to knead it for a few minutes. They say you shouldn't over knead your dough. It's still sticky. So I'm going to continue to just knead this for a little bit. So if your dough is still sticky, just add some flour to it and keep kneading it until it doesn't stick to your hand anymore. Okay, this is good. Okay guys, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator and let it sit for at least maybe 25 to 30 minutes, an hour. But I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator and let it sit there for maybe another 15 minutes or so. I'm gonna cover it. I will come back and show you make the filling that goes on the inside. Now let's go on to our next step. The next step is getting the currants that is gonna go in the center. Now currants I could not find, so what I found is raisins, what I have. Now for all of you there, if you don't have currants, all I'm gonna do is put some of my raisins in my food processor and just chop them up a little bit so that it'll be a little smaller, because currants we know is a little bit smaller. Okay, so if you don't have currants, substitute, you can use some raisins. So what I want is 1.5 cups of this raisins chopped up. So I'm just going to put some in here. I'm going to chop it up and then I would measure them after I'm finished, because I want to get 1.5 cups. Cover on, and I'm going to close it. This is about 1.5 cups of raisins that's chopped up. Now the only difference with this as to if you just had regular currants is that they'll be dry, and by chopping this up it's a little moist, but that's okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of sugar to that. I'm also going to add to this 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. You can add cinnamon to this. Whatever your flavors are that you like, you can add. I'm just adding some nutmeg, and I'm gonna add some vanilla essence, 1 teaspoon. And I'm gonna mix that up a little bit so that the essence would go all over it. And then I'm just going to set this aside. I will mix this up and then I'll set it aside. So this is 25 minutes. I left it in there for 25 minutes. So now let's take this out. First, let me flour. Take it out. Put it right there. And what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm going to cut this in half. Wish I should have my knife out. Okay guys, I'm gonna cut this in half. I'm gonna just take care of 1/2 right now and leave the other half there. So now I'm gonna knead this a little bit. Oops. I have my rolling pin over here. I was supposed to buy a rolling pin, a bigger one. I haven't done that as yet. So we're gonna just go with this smaller one that I have. I'm gonna roll it out some more on both sides. What I'm gonna do is I have some butter here, and I'm gonna generously butter my pastry here. my dough, I'm going to generously give it some butter. You can be generous with your butter. It's okay. Butter tastes good. I think that's good for the butter. So now I have my raisins here that is chopped up. Now I'm going to divide this in half because we have 2 pastry doughs right here, so we need to use it for both. And I am going to spread it throughout. You could start, don't go all the way to the end, okay? In here, just spread it out. You're just not gonna go to the end. You can stay away from the ends for a little bit, but you're gonna just, and if this was the currants that wasn't blended up, it would be a little bit easier to spread, but because this was, I had to cut it up, it's a little bit soft, but it works just as good. See? And that's it, guys. So let me put this here. Let me just clean my hands for a little bit. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to roll this, okay? You're gonna roll it and you're gonna roll it, and you're not gonna roll it too big. You're gonna take your time and give it a good roll. Okay, guys? And roll it. And just keep rolling it, roll it, roll it, roll it. Just keep rolling your dough. And that's it, guys. You keep rolling it like that, and then when you get to the end, what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of pinch your ends and kind of fold it in like that, so that your stuff on the inside doesn't fall out. So you do that on both sides. You just pinch it and just pinch it together like that, and this is it. I'm gonna put this on my pan, and this part here is gonna be on the downside. Okay, guys, make sure that's on the downside. Now I've rolled the second one. And they're all done. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. I'm gonna put it in there, let it rest for a little bit. Okay, guys. Now I have over here my rolls. I put them in the refrigerator for 20 minutes to set so that the dough could rest for a little bit. So now I have in here some egg wash. There's an egg, and I add a little milk to it to make the egg wash. So what I'm gonna do, because we want that nice golden color, so I am gonna go ahead and just wash our rolls here with our egg wash. All over. This gives it a nice pretty golden color. Cartwright paper here that I put the rolls on. Now if you have this paper, you don't need to grease it, but if you don't have this paper and you're gonna be using just your pan, you're gonna oil your pan, you're gonna grease your pan, you're not gonna put it down like that. But with this paper you don't need to. Now once I have that on there, I have a little white sugar here, and I'm just gonna take a little bit of sugar and just kind of sprinkle to the top. Just sprinkle a little bit to the top, both of them. And that's it. That's all you need. Now my oven is set at 350, so I'm gonna put this in the oven. It should take around 50 minutes but I will be back to tell you exactly how long it took. Okay guys, they're out of the oven. This is what they look like. They're a little bit hot, so I'm gonna leave it to cool for a few minutes, and after it's cool, I'll come back and show you, I'll finish it up for you. But they only took about 40 minutes. They didn't even take quite 50 minutes at 350. So let them cool for a few minutes, and then we'll be right back. So they're all finished. Looks yummy. So what I'm gonna do now, guys, is I'm gonna slice them, because usually they're sliced like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them a slice. Hopefully this knife does a good job. Currant slices, guys. Looks good. Guys, our currant slices are all done. Here they are. They look delicious. Look at it. They took about 40 minutes in the oven, and it came out pretty good. They're not too dark. I think they're pretty good. And let me take one and let me show you up front. You see how it is, guys? These are my raisins. I didn't have currants, so I took the raisins and I chopped them up and small. And this is your currant slice, guys. Pretty simple. They weren't hard at all to make. They were pretty simple, pretty easy. So now, of course, my favorite part is I get to try it for you. So let me go ahead and taste this. It's nice and warm. It looks delicious, guys. It looks very yummy. So let me taste it. Guys, that is so good. That is so good. And what is really good is it's nice and it's warm. Guys, you have to try some currant slices. They're so delicious. They're so good. This is like if I went to the store and I just bought it myself, only it tastes better because it's nice and it's warm. It have the little the crispy top, and it's nice and soft on the inside with the raisins. Oh, it's delicious. You have to try it. You have to try this for your family. If you have company coming over and you make these, your company would appreciate you for that. Guys, I had fun making this, and I hope you have fun making some for your family. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and guys, please share the channel with your friends, because I'm sure there's some other people out there who would love to learn how to make currant slices. Okay, so don't forget to share, subscribe, and like, and hit that bell icon so that every time I put a video up, you will be notified. Until next time, bye bye.